that I've had a chance to interview one of our audience members, I should say I rather like them. Even the automatons are sporting. And I think it is time, perhaps, there might be a place where we might be able to tell tales of our world, the future past that perhaps never was, for them, for some of them anyway. But for us, it's a grim reality. But we must ask ourselves as to why my watch became unwound. Certainly, the polarities of time in this area are quite different. Effects are quite different in this area. Either time or gravity. Placing this washer in his hand, we noticed that I washed my hands of the entire affair. Time is effective. Let us measure the polarities of time using this extraordinary device. This will measure the rip in the space-time continuum. Sound and depth. The measure of the polarities is 2 meters tall and 2 measures long, which you as a musicologist can tell me is roughly about 20 seconds, correct? A 20-second rip in the space-time continuum. However, I think it's a great deal more than that, as most of us have arrived in the 15th century and the 21st century at once. Our own time machine did in fact crash into one of the blue boxes, which will in fact give us the most unfortunate nickname amongst our associates as Dr. Lou. Now then, to place the measure back in the box. Ooh. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Underground, please.
Not tiny again.
Sometimes science is so stubborn. Now then, time for another experiment, citizens. Let us have a brief experiment in the realm of time. For you. One must try something, what, 100 times before it becomes a theory? Another law. Science! And now we see the folly of having never performed this routine outdoors. I'm sure most of us have had a point in time where very little money meant a great deal. 4 pence! 4 pence was the difference in price for Polly and Nichols to spend the night in a hostel versus spending the evening in London's sordid East End. A district so ridden with crime, the police seldom visit. She had asked one gentleman she came upon a man, a tradesman in a leather apron. He was playing with something in his hand, a silver florin, the one with Queen Victoria on the front of it. This would more than make up the difference for the evening. Lost me a pretty penny besides. She decided she would work one more time. She raised her skirts above her knees and she said, "A few coins are taking care of it, miss." His response, "Call me Jack, my darling." What separated Polly Ann Nichols from Mary Jane Kelly, Catherine Eddowes, Elizabeth Stride, the others? Not the sheer massive amount of blood, but rather the sheer lack of it. Less than 2 pints. Scarcely enough to fill 2 glasses of wine, proving that Jack had become better at his procedure. Once more the eyes had been gouged out. Once more the privates removed with clinical precision. And lastly, silver florins placed on where the eyes formerly were, as if to say, "Pints for the service. Yours been paid for." Polly was not identified by her face. No, she was identified by her clothing from a gentleman that had seen her just 1 hour before. A gentleman that perhaps might have given her the 4 pence had it not been in the company of his wife. This is certainly not the first known case of death by discretion. But I think, had he known her fate, he might have wanted to give her those 4 pence then. I'd like trying to give them to her now. Utilizing this map. Circa 1888, the year of the famous Whitechapel murders. This police whistle that was blown too late. This imaginary candle flame. And lastly, these 4 pence. If we are successful in this endeavor, the contents of this newspaper article will be much changed. Ghastly murder in the East End. Call for capture of the leather apron. If we are successful, this should require all of your express concentration. The candle we will place on the district in Whitechapel. The coins are now travelling through the candle flame. The contents of this newspaper article will now be most altered. We sent copper through time and have received silver in exchange. A silver florin, to be precise. His trademark. The newspaper article is the same. However, there is a note here. Thanks for the tip, Jack.